What if I told you that some of the wealthiest giants on this planet once had absolutely nothing? No food, no power, no privilege, and yet they climbed to greatness, while others, born into comfort, still fought like warriors to build their empires. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the real, raw truth about wealth and what it truly takes to rise. Oprah Winfrey, she was so poor. She wore potato sacks as dresses, abused, rejected, abandoned, but she never broke. She turned pain into power. Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks. He watched his father bounce from job to job, no savings, no health care, no hope. So he built a company where workers would never feel that pain again. Jack Ma. Rejected over 30 times, even KFC turned him away. He didn't learn English in school, he learned it by riding his bike to tourist hotels just to talk. That's how badly he wanted to grow. Leonardo Del Vecchio, an orphan working in a mold factory. That very factory became the heart of Ray-Ban and Oakley, from dust to designer. Duan Chung, immigrant who didn't speak English, a janitor, a gas station worker. He started Forever 21 with almost nothing. Some were born in the dirt, others on stable ground, but none of them stayed where they started, because beginnings don't define you, decisions do. So I ask you, what are you building? Today, if you're choosing to rise, type I decide. Now, imagine this. You wake up with a spark of hope. After months of rejection, someone finally says you're hired. It's not your dream job. It doesn't pay much, but it feels like a fresh breath, a step forward. You dream of fixing your car, paying for groceries without counting every coin, maybe even buying your child a small gift. But reality hits like a slap, harder than a mist. Rent notice that job? It ends up costing you everything. Suddenly your food stamps vanish. Your rent subsidy disappears. On paper, you're earning, but in truth, you're drowning deeper. Bus fare, daycare, packed lunches. It all falls on you. And the final blow, you're poorer with a job than you were without one. That's not a joke. That's the welfare trap. It's like climbing out of a hole, only to find the ladder gets yanked halfway up. This isn't about being lazy. It's math. Cold, cruel math, and math doesn't care how hard you work. These systems were built to help, but sometimes they help. Just enough to keep people from collapsing, not enough to let them rise. It's like giving a drowning person a life vest and ripping it away when they start to swim. So what do people do? They stay stuck. Not from laziness, but from fear. Fear that rising will hurt more than falling. And here's the worst part. Families get trapped. Generations get trapped. Poverty becomes tradition. Not by choice, but by design. Look at Howard Schultz again. Born in Brooklyn's housing projects. His father couldn't keep a steady job. No benefits. No future. They weren't talking about dreams, they were talking about survival. And Oprah. Raised in brutal poverty, wearing sacks as clothes because real clothes were luxury. They made it out. But let's not romanticize it. They were outliers. They faced odds that break most people. And they won with hustle, pain, miracles, and madness even. Elon Musk? Yes, he had privilege. But during his startup days, he lived on $1 a day, hot dogs and oranges. Sleeping in the office? Jeff Bezos? He built Amazon from a garage. He drove the first packages to the post office himself. They made it, but they weren't punished for trying to succeed. Imagine if every step forward had made them poorer. Would Amazon even exist? Some people say, cut welfare. Let people toughen up. But toughness isn't a policy, and you can't pay rent with motivational quotes. If you cut the safety net, the problem doesn't go away. It shifts to shelters, hospitals, and prisons. Others say, phase out the benefits slowly. Yes, that's better. At least give people a ramp instead of a cliff, or offer universal childcare, so working doesn't come at a loss. But here's the idea that keeps returning. What if we gave everyone a foundation, a guaranteed income? No? Penalties. No trapdoors. Universal basic income. UBI sounds wild until you realize we're already testing it. Alaska gives oil dividends to all residents. Billionaires like Jack Dorsey and Zuckerberg support UBI because it lets people try. And if they fall, they don't fall through the floor. It's not perfect, but it does one powerful thing. It lets people rise, to try, to fail, and try again. So have you ever felt trapped in poverty? Like you're stuck in a maze, working hard, but going nowhere? Then this video is for you. Because poverty is a mindset, and so is wealth. The poor think money is for bills. The middle class think it's for credit and things they can't really afford. But the rich, they know money is a tool to make more money. Jack Ma realized that too. Growing up in Hangzhou, China, watching his parents struggle. His father played traditional music. His mother pushed him to believe in himself at first. Believe money was just for survival. But later, he discovered something bigger. Money could be power. Money could be freedom. Money could change lives. And that's when everything changed. It was never just about money. It was about the way he saw the world. The way he stared challenges in the face and refused to blink. Jack Ma failed his university entrance exam not once, but twice. He knocked on every door looking for a job and was turned away at each one, including by KFC. Yes, even KFC said no.
Oh.
But even after all that, he refused to let poverty write his story. He began to believe not in luck, but in possibility. He stopped seeing his financial struggle as a curse and started seeing it as a test, a phase, a fight, something that could be broken with the right mindset. Now let's talk about programming, because most people don't make conscious decisions there. Running scripts deeply embedded from childhood, until those scripts are broken, they will never act against them. Jack Ma was programmed differently. He believed with everything in him that if he worked hard enough, if he never quit, he could rewrite his destiny. It didn't happen overnight. It took years of failing, years of starting from scratch. But eventually, from the ashes of rejection, he built Alibaba One empire sparked by one desire, to connect Chinese businesses with the rest of the world. So how do you break free from the programming of poverty? First, understand it's not just a mindset, it's a trap. One that you have to climb out of. Proverbs 6:24 says, "Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thy eyelids. Deliver thyself." It's not just advice, it's a command to wake up. Just like Jack had to. So what did he do? He fought back, battled the mental voices, telling him to quit. He woke up early every single day, grinding to build his dream. Like the ant in Proverbs, he didn't wait for handouts. He moved. Acted. He pushed forward when it hurt, when it failed, when it seemed pointless. Jack Ma hated being poor, not in a petty way, but in a deep, burning, spiritual way. He hated the look in his family's eyes when he couldn't provide. He hated the cage of limitation. Hated watching life pass while being stuck in survival mode. Couldn't afford the vacations. He couldn't buy the gifts. Every day was a reminder that he hadn't made it. There was a time when all he had were big dreams and empty pockets. He remembers those early Alibaba days working out of a cramped apartment, barely able to cover rent. Sometimes it felt like they were chasing shadows. He made promises to his wife he couldn't keep, but they never stopped. Fought together. And over time, it paid off. Alibaba exploded. His world shifted. But it wasn't luck. It was years of failure, pain, sacrifice, and relentless learning. In the darkest moments, he told himself, the greatest pain brings the greatest reward. So now I ask you, how long will you sleep on your dreams? How long will you let fear and doubt steal your future? It's time to wake up. To rise, if you want to escape the trap, you need one thing, a total shift in your programming. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. If Jack Ma could rise from rejection to revolution, then so can you. The key: rewire your mind. Believe in the impossible. Fight for your future. If you've been inspired so far, hit that like button. And if this is your first time here, subscribe to our channel and help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers. We're almost there and we can't do it without you. Already subscribed? Then type it in the comments. I subscribed. Go ahead right now. Let the world know. Thank you. Now, back to the story. Jack Ma didn't just dislike poverty, he despised it with every fiber of his being. Not just because he was broke, but because of what poverty does to people. He saw it growing up in Hangzhou. China families eating unhealthy food because they had no choice. Cars falling apart on the road, putting lives at risk. People living without clean water or electricity. He saw how poverty crushes dignity. Jack Ma wasn't always a tech icon. In the beginning, he was a nobody. He wasn't brilliant. He wasn't rich. And he definitely wasn't lucky. He was rejected again and again and again. Even KFC said no. He failed his university entrance exams multiple times. He was laughed at, ignored, forgotten. But none of that broke him because what lived inside him burned brighter than any rejection. He hated poverty so much, he used it as fuel. Every no lit a fire. Every closed door became motivation. He didn't build Alibaba just to make money, he built it as a weapon to destroy the life he hated. He wasn't chasing riches. He was chasing freedom. The freedom to live without fear, to provide without pain, to rise without limits. He had tasted the bitterness of poverty. He swore he would never taste it again. And that's exactly the kind of fire you need to feel toward poverty. Not irritation, not discomfort, but deep, burning hatred. You must despise it with every part of your soul. You have to hate waking up each day feeling like you don't have enough. You have to hate the constant weight of wondering how you'll make ends meet. You have to hate, just like Jack Ma once did, the fear of looking into the future and seeing nothing but darkness. That hatred must live inside you like a storm, roaring louder every day. You've heard the saying, the love of money is the root of all evil. But people twist this, blaming money itself. That's not what it says. It says the love of money, obsession with it, is where evil grows. Jack Ma always understood this. He knew that money on its own wasn't evil. But to chase it blindly, to betray your soul for it, that's where destruction begins. For Jack, money was never the end. It was the tool. His mission wasn't to get rich and forget the world. It was to build something so powerful that it could help others escape the trap of poverty, too. He could have fallen into the same pit many do, chasing dollars with no direction. But he didn't. He chased value, and that value brought him everything he has. Now look at your own life. Ask yourself, how much do you hate poverty? Do you hate it enough to move, to fight, to change your entire world just to escape it? Jack's determination wasn't about personal gain alone. He hated watching his wife, Zhang Ying, suffer in silence as their bank account emptied. He hated that he couldn't give her the life she deserved. They lived squeezed into a tiny apartment. At every small luxury, a vacation, a night out, even stable electricity was a faraway dream. But Jack didn't let that hate break him. He weaponized it. Today, when people see Jack Ma flying across the globe, they assume it's just about showing off. But they're wrong. What they don't see is the man who once lost luggage because he flew economy, who stood in TSA, lines for hours, wasting precious time. He doesn't live in luxury to brag. He does it so he never has to feel powerless again. So he never loses another minute of his life to poverty's chains. That's the kind of resolve you must build. A hatred so powerful, poverty doesn't stand a chance in your life. But to truly destroy it, you have to understand its partners, the habits that hold you hostage. Jack Ma learned there were 4 partners of poverty, and he cut ties with all of them. The first, laziness, sleep. He wasn't the type to waste hours lying around. Sure, he valued rest, but he never worshipped it. Sleep was just a recharge station. He woke up every day with war in his heart, a mission to change his life, when most were binge-watching dramas or scrolling endlessly through nonsense. Jack was building Alibaba. He hated poverty too much to sit idle and watch others chase their dreams while his remained on pause. The second, complacency. Jack never got comfortable, never accepted good enough. Mediocrity was his enemy. He understood, success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who climb, fall, bleed, and keep rising. He pushed harder when others gave up. He studied while others relaxed, improved while others stayed still. The third partner. Fear, the silent killer. Fear has crushed more dreams than failure ever could. But Jack, he made fear his fuel. He faced rejection 30 times, including from KFC. He was humiliated, broken, laughed at. But he didn't freeze. He moved faster. The idea of staying poor terrified him more than failing ever could. And the fourth. Procrastination. The lie that tells you to wait for the perfect time. Jack didn't wait. He began building Alibaba, with scraps, with no money, no connections, and no guarantees. If he had waited for the ideal moment, he'd still be poor. He chose risk. He chose action. And that made all the difference. Jack Ma's journey proves poverty isn't just a financial condition, it's a mental prison. And the only way out is to refuse to live another day in those chains. So ask yourself, do you hate poverty enough to destroy it? Or are you still tolerating it, still giving it room in your life? This isn't about luck. It's about choice. It's just like Jack Ma. You can break free, but it starts with a declaration. Say it loud. Say it like your future depends on it. I hate poverty. It's not because it sounds nice, but because it means everything. It means you're done living on the sidelines. It means you're done watching life pass you by. If you're truly ready to rewrite your future, type it in the comments. I hate poverty, not once, twice. This time, with your whole heart. When I see it, I'll heart it because I believe in what it means. I believe you're ready. Jack Ma didn't just dislike poverty, he raged against it. He lived like he had something to prove because he did. He came from rejection. Born in Hangzhou, China, into a family with no wealth and no influence. He wasn't privileged, he was pounded by failure. He failed school entrance exams twice. He applied for 30 jobs. Rejected. Even KFC told him no. But instead of breaking, he built. While others wasted time on TV, Jack stayed laser-focused. Not because he couldn't afford to relax, but because he believed relaxation is a reward, not a lifestyle. He didn't believe in distracting himself from the pain of being broke. He believed in transforming it. For Jack, poverty was poison. It made people settle. It made them feel small. It disguised itself in laziness, comfort, and endless distractions. But Jack, he hated all of it. He didn't just resist it, he declared war on it. Even sleep had to earn its place. It's not because he was against rest, but because rest is sacred. It should come after creation, not before. Most people think success means you work less. Jack believes success means you've worked so hard, you've earned the right to choose when you stop. Because if you don't control poverty, it will control you. And Jack Ma was never going to let that happen. He never let people get too close. Not because he was cold, but because he was focused. While the world around him rested, relaxed, and wasted hours scrolling through distractions, he worked. He built while others slept. He sacrificed while others indulged. And that's why poverty couldn't keep up with him, because Jack Ma was already sprinting far ahead, one of poverty's closest allies. Indulgence. Whether it was overspending, overeating, or overconsuming, Jack refused to let fleeting pleasure dictate his destiny. While others flexed lifestyle upgrades for temporary applause, Jack was quietly upgrading his skill set. He didn't pay himself a single salary from Alibaba for years. Why? Because he knew something most people never realize. Indulgence kills momentum. Jack wasn't building Alibaba for fun or fame. He was building a lifeline, a digital bridge for millions of small businesses across China, abandoned by the global economy. He didn't drown himself in alcohol to numb the struggle. He sipped tea, burning the midnight oil, solving problems. The world ignored. Didn't run from discomfort, he charged into it, and that's why Jack never got stuck. Comfort. That was a trap, and Jack saw it clearly. He believed every second spent escaping reality was a second stolen from his dream. Because the opposite of poverty isn't just money, it's purpose. Purpose cannot survive in a life ruled by indulgence. Jack didn't chase impulse, he chased impact. He chose to serve. And in that service, he found wealth not just in his bank account, but in his mind and spirit. Here's what most people miss. Jack understood poverty wasn't just about money. It was spiritual, not religious spiritual. A war inside the mind. He knew poverty often begins in the soul, quiet, poisonous lies whispered into our thoughts. Evil doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes as a whisper that says you're not good enough. You'll never make it. Don't even try. It's the oldest lie in history. The serpent didn't tempt Eve with everything she had. He tempted her by pointing to what she didn't. That voice still whispers today. Whispers to the poor, the tired, the broken. You lack. You fail. You're finished. But Jack, he silenced that voice. He focused on value, on giving, on building. And because of that mindset, he transformed a tiny apartment into one of the largest e-commerce empires on earth. He didn't start with power. He started with belief, a small team, a shared dream, and the fire to serve more than just themselves. Jack didn't beat poverty by luck. He beat it because he hated it. He fought it with his thoughts, his emotions, his bank account, and his soul. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, tired of watching others rise while you barely survive, then take a hard look at Jack's journey. Hate poverty. Hate what it steals from you. Hate how it enters your life through laziness, indulgence, distraction, and then fight back. Fight with discipline. With a clear vision, with unshakable purpose. Because Jack didn't just escape poverty, he crushed it so completely that it never found its way back to his door.